All right, today we're pulling back the curtain on some of the most critical jobs in the entire world. We're talking about the people who keep our industries running and our workers safe. These are the unsung heroes, the unseen guardians of progress. So let's just jump right in with a question for you. Picture any huge skyscraper, a massive bridge, a giant factory. What do you think is the single most dangerous part of it? The top floor? Maybe the foundation? The electrical room? The answer is actually the part that's not even there yet. Yet, the most dangerous part of any structure is the one that's currently being built. Because a work site, well, it's a constantly changing, high-stakes environment just packed with hidden dangers. So, what kind of dangers are we really talking about here? Well, on pretty much any work site, they fall into four main categories. You can think of them as the four faces of hazard that workers are up against every single day. Let's get to know them. First up, you've got chemical hazards. Now, these are the invisible threats, the kind of stuff you can't even see, but that can do a ton of damage when you breathe it in or it gets on your skin. And look at how specific these dangers are. You take a mason or a driller, right? They're around silica dust all the time, and that can lead to a really devastating lung disease called silicosis. Or a demolition worker might accidentally stir up old asbestos, which can cause asbestosis. Even a painter, just working with solvents every day, is risking neurological damage. These are the slow, silent killers with lifelong consequences. Okay, our second category is physical hazards. These are all about the environmental factors that just wear down the human body through constant, punishing exposure. The real danger here is the damage that builds up over time. I mean, that deafening noise a welder hears all day, it doesn't just disappear when they clock out. It can lead to permanent hearing loss. The intense vibration from a power grinder can cause awful conditions like carpal tunnel syndrome. And, for anybody working outside, something as simple as extreme heat can literally become a life-threatening risk. Now, the third type is one you might not think of when you picture a construction site: biological hazards. Yeah, we're actually talking about risks from living organisms. This really comes into play in the very first stages of a project. You've got a crew clearing a site or a team digging into the earth. They can get exposed to all kinds of bacteria, fungi, or poisonous plants that can cause some really nasty skin irritations and infections. And that brings us to our fourth and final category: ergonomic hazards. This is all about the strain that the work itself, the posture, the repetition, the pure physical demand of it, puts on a person's body. This is where the job itself is the hazard. Think about a welder or a painter, often stuck in an awkward position for hours on end. That leads to musculoskeletal disorders. Or a driller, a hammer, doing the same motion thousands of times a day. That's a recipe for repetitive strain injuries. The result can be lifelong pain and sometimes even permanent disability. Okay, so we've just laid out four huge threats. It's a pretty daunting picture, I know. But here's the thing. For every problem, there's a science dedicated to finding the solution. And in this case, it's the science of safety. This is what we call industrial safety management. And it's way, way more than just telling people to wear a hard hat. This is a highly specialized field, and it's all about analyzing, predicting, and preventing every single one of those hazards we just talked about. It's the whole system for protecting people. So how do you even teach that? Well, the training is really built on a few core pillars. It all starts with learning to see the risks before they turn into accidents. Then you move into proactive prevention, and you get hands-on skills like conducting safety audits. It's not just about knowing the rules, it's about making sure they're actually being followed on the ground. And this kind of comprehensive approach is what gets professionals ready for safety challenges anywhere in the world. Which brings us to a really crucial point. These guardians, these protectors, they aren't just born, they're trained. So let's take a look at the actual path you could take to become one of these essential professionals. One of the best things about this field is how accessible it is. To get a diploma or a certificate, the minimum qualification can be just a 10th or 12th pass. That means people can start a really meaningful career right after school. Of course, if you want to go for the more advanced degrees, a background in science or engineering helps, but the point is there are multiple ways to get in. And if you really want to kick your career into high gear, there are some key international certifications you can aim for. We're talking about qualifications from bodies like NABOSH and IOSH, or getting familiar with OSHA standards. Think of them like a global passport for safety expertise. They show you have a high level of competence and can open doors to jobs all over the world. And all this training builds into a really clear career path. You could start out in an entry-level role, something like a safety assistant. Then, with some experience, you can move up to a mid-level spot as a safety officer or an HSE engineer. And from there, you can climb all the way to senior leadership, a safety manager, or even an HSE director for a huge corporation. It's a clear ladder to the top. So where are these jobs? The short answer is everywhere that matters. This is not some niche field. Safety professionals are absolutely critical in construction, oil and gas, manufacturing, chemical plants, mining. Basically any industry where people and complex machinery have to work together. The demand is constant and it is widespread. So let's just end with this thought. We all look at the finished product, right? The gleaming skyscraper, the powerful factory, the energy that powers our lives. But we almost never see the process. So the next time you see a new building going up, just ask yourself, who's looking out for the people making it all possible? Well, now you know. They're the unseen guardians of industrial safety.